What is up, everybody? Welcome to this episode of the Start, Build, Grow Show. The Roofing Success Summit is a workshop-style conference designed for leaders of roofing companies looking to accelerate growth and gain clarity. You and your leadership team will get the tools you need to navigate the ever-changing industry while ensuring your company is growing and operating systematically. You'll be focusing on implementing a proprietary operating system, accelerating growth and clarity, and executing leadership and team development. The summit will also have exciting activities, including a day on the slopes, relaxing at the spa, or just hanging out in the beautiful town of Breckenridge. Join us this February 5th through the 8th. Get your tickets now at roofingsummit.com. All right, guys. Man, this one's tricky because this man doesn't really need much of an intro. I got exposed to you a number of years ago, and I've been on your waiting list for 3 years to get you as a guest on the podcast. And this guy, Charlie Cina, it's hard to even, you do a lot of things. Entrepreneur, wrote a book, speaker. I've seen you on big stages. And more importantly, the sales master, sales trainer, sales leader, and you kind of are a pioneer in the space of learning management systems as well as a really cool entrepreneur that has a really cool software that's like really kind of changing the way sales are done. So I just wanted to tease that a little bit because we're going to get into all that stuff. But welcome to the show, Charlie Cina, my man.
Thanks for having me, brother. Excited.
All right. So, man, I don't even know where to start. But generally on this show, right, this is a show by entrepreneurs, about entrepreneurs, sharing the entrepreneurial journey. But generally I like to get started because story time is always great. You know, I've seen your social media. I've seen you on stages. I've seen a lot of the things you've done, the videos and the super cool program that we're launching within our own organization with One Tap. But what I want to do is kind of start at the beginning. Like, sure. Where did you come from? How did you even get into entrepreneurship, and what are some of the things, high points of your or low points of your entrepreneurial journey up to now?
Yeah, I think I learned my entrepreneurship from my dad. My dad, wasn't formally educated. I'll say he was a self-taught guy. Probably had a 9th, 10th grade education, but consummate entrepreneur, consummate networker, and I know I learned that from him. And then at a young age, from Buffalo, New York originally, and like right now as we speak, they're getting hammered with, snow and storms like a lot of the country, but I grew up in snow country. And as a kid, I realized early on that if you had some money in your pocket, you didn't have to ask mom and dad. Like, you can go out and get your own stuff. You could walk to the corner store or walk to the toy store or whatever it is that you wanted, and if you had your own money, you could get it. So at an early age, I had the entrepreneurial spirit, and one of my first endeavors was really getting a newspaper route, and I learned at an early age how to knock doors. Again, I didn't know I was knocking doors. I didn't know I was an entrepreneur, but as I look back on my life, I'd be out there knocking doors. Hey, Mr. Brothers, you want the paper? Hey, Mr. Smith, you want the paper? A lot of people would, move the curtain on their window, look at me, not even answer the door, and I'd be standing there like an idiot in the cold and realize, oh, that guy's not answering the door, move on to the next one, And then you'd have the person that said, yeah, absolutely, I've been waiting for you. Thanks for coming by. And, they sign up and give you a tip just for showing up to buy the paper. So I learned at an early age that the more you introduce, the more you produce. And that's where I really learned a lot. I learned, the art of, knock on the next one, knock on the next one, knock on the next one. And I learned how to overcome rejection. And I also learned how if I, answered and smiled and kind of got my little power presentation down, more people would be more apt to get the paper. And every time I went to collect the money, because at that time there was no internet, right? You'd physically have to go and knock on the door and collect the money. That, if Mr. Brothers was getting a weekly paper and it was $1.25 a week, he might throw me $2 or $3 and tell me to keep the change. So that's really where I started. And from there, I had an affinity of wanting to learn how to sell, and things progressed from there.
Isn't it amazing how, and you as a sales trainer, coach, and all things, myself included, it's amazing how many success stories come from beginnings of, hey, I just had to go find a way to make some money, and I figured out something to sell, and I went and knocked doors. Obviously we talk a lot about roofing, but I mean, aside from that, just if you can get that foundational baseline of walking down your street, knocking on the door, trying to find something to sell and bring some value to the neighbors or to somebody, that foundation can lead to an entire life, an entire career of success. And it's interesting because our stories are similar, where I wasn't selling newspapers, but what I was doing was, in the wintertime, I was shoveling driveways.
Yep.
And in the summertime, I was mowing lawns. And that's what we did. I just, rode my bike down the street and found a lawn that was needed mowing, and knock, knock, knock. Hey, can I mow your lawn? And at that point I was charging $10 or something like that. And I'd spend half a day trying to make this perfect lawn.
That was a hit, man. $10.
Right? I nailed it.
That was a hit.
Absolutely. Yeah. And my problem was I didn't know the difference. I mean, I definitely got some work ethic. I mean, you mentioned your dad. I definitely got, early on, I just got exposed to a really strong work ethic from my grandfather and my dad, and just to the point where almost to perfection. So I would go, the worst one was when you're going out and when it was snowing. You came from the snow country too. Right now I got layers of ice and snow on the ground right now. And I would go knock doors, hey, can I shovel your driveway? And then I had this little crappy shovel, and I would be out there for hours, like chipping away at the ice, trying to make this driveway absolutely perfect. I wish I knew now that all you had to do is kind of go over the top, just move it out of the way and get paid and move on. But I would sit there and try to make that yard look absolutely perfect. And I don't know why I went into that story, but I think there's a lot of people that can correlate to that. Early on, you just got that knack, right? You got that knack to make things happen, right?
Yeah, and here's what I think a lot of people miss. You need to take the action. You need to knock the door. You need to pick up the phone and make the call. I just opened up a new office here in Vegas, and literally this morning I'm training a new sales guy, 24 years old, and he's like, what's one of the biggest things that, you think I should do? I go, how old are you? He said 24. I'm like, dude, don't burn your 20s. Like, don't burn your 20s, because when you're 30, you're going to go back and go, man, I burned my 20s. Right? You waited to knock the door. Now, whatever, I'm using that, as an example, but why wait? So if you're going to sell roofing, if you're going to sell key tags, if you're going to sell coffee mugs or coffee cups, and you suck, if you knock 100 doors, 3% of those 100 people want to buy a coffee cup.
Yep.
3% of the people might need a key tag. Do you follow what I'm saying? So
yep.
Just by sheer knocking and taking action, you're going to fall into what I'll call a circumstantial opportunity. Oh, shoot, I'm having a party tomorrow night. My wife doesn't, Christmas party, my wife doesn't want to put out the good china. She just wants to put coffee cups out, paper cups out. You called at the right time. That's a circumstantial deal. Now, once you start learning the art of presenting, and I like to say the art of presenting and not selling, because if you learn how to present, that's key, right? Yeah. I like to say I teach how to present and position so you profit, right? How do you present yourself in a way that's unforgettable at the first point of contact? You knock the door, boom, right? I differentiate myself. So how do you present yourself so you can position yourself as the only logical choice in your space? And when you can learn how to do that, you'll profit. You'll oscillate at a higher frequency. People will recognize that, and they'll want to do business with you. Now, all that may have sounded simple, but doing it tends to be complex, because you need to keep doing it. You need to get good at it. No different than, when Jordan or Kobe or any of the greats out there, the Dwayne Wades or whoever, like, they got good at what they did. They kept shooting the foul shots and the three-pointers and did it with repetition. So all that being said, whether you're selling roofs, it doesn't matter. That's the vehicle that you jumped into. You need to learn the mindset that you need. Then set your mission, and then you learn all the moves that you need to make along the way to help you shorten your sales cycle. So now when you talk to that same 100 people, instead of closing 3%, you're getting better, you're closing 5, you're closing 10, and maybe even get up to 20, 25% of the doors that you're knocking. Why? Because now every time you knock a door, you could refer the neighbor that you just did, or that's 2 doors down instead of 5 blocks over. And now your social proof comes into play, and you're just, you're oscillating at a completely different frequency, and you've mastered your craft.
Absolutely. And I love that you ended with the master your craft, because I think, unfortunately, this day and age, it's like we live in an age where we all want like instant success, right? We want that instant hit. We want to make money right away. We want to go spend 2 hours and make millions of dollars. And I think there's so much to be said about the greats of anything. It's like people talk about, like, I have a closet full of Jordans. You mentioned Jordan, and I like, and it's not just because of they're cool. Like there's something to be said about every time I wake up and I'm out in the world, I'm working, I'm hustling to make things happen. When I look down and I see a pair of Jordans on, it's just like this little subtle reminder to go to work, to get another rep in, to stay later, to get up earlier, to be the best. If you want to absolutely be the best at what you do, you got to put in the work. And over and over and over. And there's some people who have different talents, different abilities better than others, but nothing beats dedicated time and energy in the gym, putting in the reps. And so many people these days, I think, miss that. They're just like, well, no, I want the easy button, right? What's the fast track to success? What's the fast track to, especially in roofing, you can kind of catch lightning in a bottle in roofing. You start a roofing company, next week, the very next week, your neighborhood gets smashed with hail, and you're like, sweet, all these jobs are just falling in my plate, and I just caught lightning in a bottle, and I didn't have to try that hard. And then what happens? 1-2 years down the road, they're calling me like, oh crap, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to run a business. How do I market myself? How do I train salespeople? It doesn't come that easy anymore. And what do I do? So I just, that's my message to those listening to this is, no matter what you do in life, you've got to be willing to put in the work. If you want to be the best, you got to get up early, stay late, and put in the work, get your reps in, and just get better every single day.
Yeah, I call that, your lightning in a bottle situation, circumstance, a circumstantial opportunity. I don't know if circumstantial is a word or not, but if it's not, I just
it is now.
But you got lucky, right? You were in the right place at the right time, and you could get out there and you could say the right things, but there was a bigger demand for what you wanted. Supply and demand, right? The demand's so big that all you have to do is say, hey, and here's the coffee cup, right? Here's I can get you done. But the problem with that, to your point, is people start making some money and they think that they've arrived, and that's not the deal. And that's where I think wisdom comes in from guys like you and me, right? Because we've gotten our asses kicked. We've had some circumstantial wins or some situational wins or opportunistic wins where we're in the right place at the right time and we won. But that's not the name of the game. That's not how Super Bowls are won or longevity, right? And again, don't burn your 20s. A lot of us maybe have had scenarios where we jumped into that certain right circumstance, right place, right time, and we think we're doing it, but we haven't mastered our craft. We haven't done the reps, and then all of a sudden, you got to swing the bat, and you can't lift that sucker up and identify, you know what I mean, a ball versus a strike. So at any rate, I think everyone knows what we're talking about, but you have to master your craft.
Absolutely. And here's something too to wrap that, and we'll move on. But I think we all also need to understand that once you think you've mastered your craft, that's when you fail.
No question.
Because you're never actually going to master your craft. The journey, the process, that's the destination. The process of that commitment to discipline, to get better every single day, that's mastering your craft. Because you'll never actually be a master. And as soon as you think you are, that's right when you lose. That's right when other people soar right on past you.
No question.
So, all right, we'll carry on the story. That was fun. See, I knew this was going to be a good call. We can go off on this stuff on tangents all day long and provide massive value for those out there trying to listen, make things happen as entrepreneurs. So, you're an entrepreneur. We established, got started early on, 20s, 30s. What did you kind of get yourself into, and how did you get into the entrepreneurial world?
Well, I had scholarships. I left Buffalo, New York in 1986. I went to a junior college for hospitality. I wanted to be in the hotel business because I love networking. I love shaking hands. And again, that hospitality business is where you're really bringing people value, right? I mean, in the rawest form. They're coming into your restaurant, your hotel, whatever, and you want to give them a good experience. So, customer service and value is key. I had scholarships from that junior college to finish up at UNLV. And when I was finishing up at UNLV, I had a part-time job selling contractors ball caps, key tags, and T-shirts for their business. Yeah. So I used to get up at 3 a.m. Pacific to reach out to the contractors on the East Coast at 7 a.m. So I used to be on the phone at 4 a.m. and spend 4 hours on the phone to go catch an 8:30 class at UNLV. So that's where I really cut my teeth, and that's where I really honed in on my sales skills. And there was none of this, right? There was none of, hey, let me hop on and video. There was no Instagram. There was no phone. There was no text. There was none of that nonsense. Like, I learned on the phone that words trigger pictures, which trigger emotions, which lead to action steps. I'll say that one more time for your audience because this is relevant anytime. Words trigger pictures, which trigger emotions, which lead to action steps. So I learned on that phone through grinding and getting, my butt kicked and hang-ups. And, now when these youngsters tell me, oh, I dialed or I made 100 calls today. Dude, you showed up, you cranked up your laptop, you got your coffee or your Red Bull, and you sat in a nice office and you hit the button and the automated dialer just keeps getting people on the phone for you. I'm literally old school, right? Pushing a push button phone and was tickled pink because I grew up when there was a rotary phone. So long story short, I'm on the phone making these contacts, and you literally had to present yourself in a way that was unforgettable at hello, because if you didn't, you were getting hooked, right? And we're talking to contractors. No nonsense, right? I'm busy. I'm in a million directions, right? A lot of them are storm chasers, so they're in crisis management every day, just like the storms that they're chasing, right? Trying to get guys, too many guys, whatever. So that's where I really, really learned, Randy, the art of the presentation. Now, again, I didn't really understand what that brought to me until decades later in my sales career. But as things evolve, I'm like, man, you can sell on the phone with just your words and your voice inflection and really learning how to present. That's key. So that's why in my, my career, my quest of going next level, and when I go in and train sales teams, I'm all about the art of presentation. Because you can sell, what's selling? No one really, everyone wants to learn how to close. Dude, you don't even know how to present. You don't know how to say hello. So if you can't go A, B, C, D, E, if you can't do that seamlessly at hello, you've got no business trying to be, at H, I, J, or K, because you skipped a couple letters in the alphabet, right? You skipped a couple steps within the closing process. So when you do that and you skip those steps and then you try to get to the close, that's where all these objections come in, because you have not connected the dots for your prospect to make them understand who you are, what you do, how your product serves them and solves their problem during the course of your presentation. So by the time you get to the end, now you're dealing with all this nonsense, these objections that you should have overcome in your presentation to begin with. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
And everyone wants to be a hardcore closer. You're not ready to be a hardcore closer. And learn your ABCs, get good at those, and then you won't even have to close. But when you do have to quote and I hate to use that term, but that's what most people relate to. When you do have to hardcore close, you are coming from the absolute place of best intention. And the only reason you really need to do that is because you need to make sure your certainty level is greater than your clients, because they're looking to you to consult them. They're looking to you to mentor them. And they want to have 100% confidence and certainty in you. So the money in their pocket, right, isn't as valuable as what you're going to deliver to them.
Yep.
So
yeah. And I love that. We're definitely, on the same page there. And that's how we teach it as well is, if you do a great job connecting, presenting, what was the old school, it's what is the saying, right? It's cliche, but it makes sense. People want to buy from people they know, like, and trust. So if you focus on connecting, delivering value, building value, solving, identifying a problem, solving their challenges, through a good process that you can rinse and repeat and master that process, it takes closing out of the equation. You're not having to pressure someone to close something. It turns it into just like a normal transaction at that point. And that's the objective, is to get really, really good at that, to where these transactions just happen over and over and over.
Yep. I know you've heard the term, you had me at.
Hello.
And there's just a lot of sales people out there that don't get that, but that is the key.
What's interesting about that, and there's a lot of like great salespeople. You can ask them all. Almost a lot of myself, like a lot of great salespeople, at some point waited tables. And there's something to be learned about being able to connect with someone at hello within 30 seconds of meeting that table. You can tell if you're waiting tables, if you walk up and how you conduct yourself within the first 5 seconds of meeting that table is going to determine how well you make a tip and how well that transaction is going to go at the end. I think
when I go to a
rite of passage there, right?
When I go to a restaurant now, and I teach this, it's in my book, and I teach it when I go in and use it as an example when I'm teaching sales teams. It's my job to introduce myself to you. I want to introduce myself to as many people as I can. So when that waiter or waitress walks up to the table, they say, hi, my name's Julie. Hi, Julie, I'm Charlie. That's my wife, Tennille. Right? That's my son, Charles. That's my daughter, Sophia, or whoever I'm with. Nice to meet you. Now, what just happened? She knows my name.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, Charlie, nice to meet you. Oh, how old? Now there's a conversation started. It might be, 2 minutes or 60 seconds or 30 seconds. But at the end of the day, guess what? My service just got better. My food's not going to be cold. Right? I did it the other night. I had 2 young guys come in to shoot a bunch of content for me. They met me at a show, RoofCon.
Okay, yeah.
Excuse me, the National Association of Realtors show right after RoofCon in Orlando, because I got stuck there, so I did the real estate show. They meet me, they go, we want to fly to Vegas, we want to do X, Y, Z for you. I said, all right, let's see if we can do some business. They're shooting my content, and I'm coaching them. We go to dinner. They couldn't go in and get a table. It was a 2.5-hour wait. I said, let me try. I went up, asked the guy his name, had a conversation. The guy gave me a table. A waiter came. What's your name? And I don't do it with the intention of anything else than just trying to build the relationship. But people miss it. Whether it's a waiter or waitress, it doesn't matter. You ask people their name. You start that conversation at hello. Right? Not only did I get a table, the waiter came. I did the same thing to the waiter. I introduced him. We ordered 2 desserts. I said, give me one to go. My father-in-law likes that dessert. The guy brought me the bag. He goes, I didn't charge you for this. I said, well, go ahead. Here's my credit card. He goes, no, man. He goes, you guys are awesome. Have a great night. We didn't do anything except have some conversation with the guy, call him by name, and let him know that he was appreciated. And that's what life should be about. And if you're in the sales game, profession, whatever it is that you want to call it, that's the objective.
Yeah. And I love that. Let's there's a takeaway there, because so many people, right? Coaching, when you're talking to owners or coaching, sales organizations, right? We'll take roofing. Obviously, there's a lot of roofing around here. So, as a roofing owner, or as a roofing consultant, right? One of the biggest questions I get is, how do I find good people? I can't find people. How do I find good people? Take what Charlie just said, apply that single tactic every time you go to a restaurant, and see what happens to your sales team over a period of time.
Yeah.
Because if you take that, engage with that salesperson, it's going to tell you what that salesperson's all about. If they're a good person, a good human being, and they interact, and that interaction is great, and you can really start to see their personality come out, boom, now you're use it as a recruiting tool. And it's organic as well.
Right. Absolutely. And that's where, when I go into companies, a lot of companies don't even really know what they do. You could ask the owner what they do, and the owner can't tell you what he does.
Yeah.
Like if I meet you cold and, we exchange information and you say, what's your name? Randy, Charlie. And you say to me, Charlie, what do you do? Randy, I empower business owners like you to shorten your sales cycle and increase revenue, guaranteed through my 3-step process. Now, here's the thing. Some of your listeners are going, oh, that sounds corny. That sounds canned. Well, that sounds canned because we're role-playing right now on this podcast. But when you meet somebody cold and you present yourself in a way that's unforgettable at the first point of contact, they're going to go, well, how do you do that?
Yep. What's
your 3-step process? Right? Why are you different than any other roofing company, right, that's going to show up at my house? Well, because our 3-step process is we help you analyze, assess, and ultimately achieve a roof that was in better condition than when you first bought the house. Right? So we're going to come out and we're going to analyze the situation. We've got a 40-point checkpoint. We check, your scuppers, your roof, the damage to the hail, your AC units, whatever, to make sure, right? So we analyze it, right? We assess the damage and go over it step by step to make sure that when we do your claim, there's going to be enough money to recover the actual damage that needs to get fixed. And again, I know enough about roofing, right? So I don't want people to drill down here with what I'm saying. If I'm saying something incorrect, don't nitpick. I'm trying to tell you conceptually, you need to have a 3-step process. You analyze, you assess, and then we're going to achieve putting your roof on with our XYZ guarantee. What that means, if we tell you it's going to take 14 days from start to finish, we're going to meet that project deadline, hopefully come in. Do you understand? Like, people want to feel certain that you're going to deliver. And in order to feel certain, you first have to give them the confidence. How do you give them the confidence? You got to show them the truth, authenticity, and proof of what you've done, Randy, because talk is what?
Cheap.
Talk is cheap. But nobody comes in with truth, authenticity, and proof. They're just turning. They want to your point, they just want to turn and burn, right? Well, Charlie, what makes you, like one guy, I did a conference, I spoke at a conference, the guy's name's Dave Yoho. He's really big in the home improvement industry. I don't know if you ever heard of him. But he's like 90-some years old. The guy's like the granddaddy. I wish I would have met him 30 years ago. Like, consummate closer. The guy's unbelievable. Specific to home improvement. You have to have truth, authenticity, and proof.
Yep.
Right? What have I done? Well, I wrote this book called Expose and Close. Okay? Yep. Let me tell you how I closed John Taffer. You ever see the show Bar Rescue, Randy?
Yep.
Okay, I knocked John cold, didn't have an appointment, went in, rang the bell, it said no solicitation. Guess what I did, Randy? I rang the bell anyway, because I wasn't there to solicitate John. I was there to do a joint venture where I wanted to help him create an online training platform to where he can help bar owners worldwide. Do you understand? Yeah. So it's a whole mindset, but when you have truth, authenticity, and proof, boom. There's my book. Boom, here's a picture of 3 jobs that I've done in the neighborhood. But everybody goes out there and they don't have any type of truth, authenticity, and proof of what they can deliver. And if they do, they're not using it, which is a big mistake.
Yeah, I love that. Man, guys, this is a free podcast. I should remind you guys, this is a free podcast. You're listening to this. You're getting some incredible value from my man, Charlie Cina, who I've been following for a number of years, and we got him on the show. And we're going to take a quick break, and I was going to tee it up, though. But before the break, give us that again. I mean, you wrote an awesome book, man. You're a consummate pro. You've trained thousands of people and to be great sales, like badasses. What was that? What was the book again, and where can I find that?
Exposeandclose.com is the best place to go.
Okay. Exposeandclose.com. Gotcha.
Right. What is that? That's my online training course. Okay.
Great.
I don't want to sell you my book, Randy. You know I don't want to sell you my book?
Why don't you want to sell me the book, Charlie?
Because 90% of the people don't read books.
You got it. Yep.
Okay? However, this is a stick neck mechanism to get your attention.
Absolutely.
Okay? I'm all about what I call the transparent close. Okay? The book's not going to give you the repetition, the practice, and role play that you need. And your viewers, without question, who are my ideal clients, don't have time to sit there and read books, although they should, although I should. Yep. Right? But if I'm on the treadmill, I can log in and watch an online course. So what I'm trying to impress upon everybody, and we're all here to move some type of product or service. That's how we feed our families.
Yep. Right.
So that being said, if they go to exposeandclose.com, there's my online training course there. You certainly could go on Amazon and get my book, but I don't want this to be something that sits on the shelf of your library or potentially as a doorstop to make sure that the door stays open. Right?
Absolutely.
But it's necessary. It's necessary.
It is.
Everybody should have a book.
Yeah, and I was just gonna say that as like so many, same thing early on. This was kind of right as this quote unquote like virtual training online course was really starting to take off, right? I know you work with Lightspeed, and I worked with you guys and Brad and some of the other guys that were there, and at the same type of thing. I was like, man, I've been able to build this awesome company full of systems and processes, and I just have a genuine passion of like, I feel like part of my purpose is to help others, help others succeed, develop leaders, and help people achieve, freedom, financial freedom, lifestyle independence, and gain some of that quality of life that so many of us just miss out on. And how do I deliver that? Through an online course, which has evolved into an entire team of coaches, but it all started right here. Same thing. We did the same thing. Start it, build it, grow it. The Contractor's Guide to Success, and anybody can do that. You can write a book. Takes a little time, takes a little dedication. Find some good coaching or somebody to help you with the process. But if you have something to share, regardless of where you are in your life, like somebody else can be impacted by that. And if that is something that's passionate for you, you can do that. And Charlie is your guy to help with that process. That's literally what he does. He helps people like take what they know, take that knowledge, and put it into a form that helps you, create a business and create a lifestyle and revenue for yourself. And we'll talk a little bit more about that and some of the other cool things you're doing right after this amazing break. Again, this show would not happen if it weren't for our amazing sponsors. So we're going to take a quick minute and give a shout out to our boys and ladies over there at Company Cam, as well as our friends at Job Nimbus.
Job Nimbus is a fully customizable back office solution.
Track leads, jobs, tasks from one easy-to-use software.
And with the largest ecosystem of integrated partners, if we don't do it, we have a friend who does.
Learn how the #1 back office system in roofing
can help you be efficient, be organized, be professional, and be profitable.
Stop driving job site to job site or texting and emailing photos. Know what's happening across your business. Get started for free today.
All right, everybody, we are back, and man, this conversation is awesome. We don't have a ton of time left, as much as I'd love to just cannibalize Charlie's time and just hang out with you all day long. Like every time we talk, my friend, it's always just, we could just go forever, and it's awesome. You have that kind of connection with people when you're kindred spirits, you see eye to eye on things, and you just want to surround. What's that saying, right? If you're you are the mean of the 5 to 10 people you spend the most time with.
No question.
Bro, you could be in my my top 8 friends list on what's that old social media platform where we got the top 8 or whatever. I don't know what it was. One of those.
I could be, or I am.
Will you? I'm gonna formally ask you. Will you be in my friends list, my friend?
It would be my honor, and in reciprocation, I'd like you to do the same for me.
Love it. See, that's how it gets done, ladies and gentlemen. Surround yourself with the awesome people you can learn from, you can be inspired by. The show's been really, really great. So we're picking up. We'll talk about writing books, creating that credibility, and then turning that into something that you can deliver value to, then serve and help others, whatever your target audience is, and then being able to turn that into a business, turn it into a profit, turn it into income. If I were interested in something like that, Charlie is the guy. So I'm just going to pretend I'm interested in something like that. What do I do, my man? What's the process? How do I get into that space?
Here's the deal. I'm all about truth, authenticity, and proof. That's how I like to sell. Who am I? What do I do? How can I serve you? Right? So I need to introduce myself to you, build rapport, gain credibility. There's only one reason why I'm on this podcast. Because at some point we introduced ourselves to each other, we built rapport, I gained your credibility, right? You said this guy's, no nonsense, he's the real deal, he's no joke, I like him. And I can help your audience solve a problem. And I have the truth, authenticity, and proof to back it up. Well, that's part of the sales process. That's how I got on here. Now, I spoke at an event. This was a couple years ago. I actually helped the gentleman launch the event. He was about $400,000 upside down, sold about 80 tickets and 4 vendors, brought me in as a consultant. When it was all said and done, we sold about 1,100 tickets, 44 vendors, and people that actually showed up for the event was about 500-600 people. So with that, I speak. One of the other speakers after the conference calls me and says, I want to hire you. And I thought he wanted to hire me because he wanted an online training platform. He said, no, I want you to help me to write my book. His name is Ryan Palomini. He's in the insurance business. I think he was under 30 at the time. Now he's probably early 30s. Very successful guy, 7-figure guy now. But he said, I want to write my book. So he flew to Vegas, and literally, what's the objective? To take what's here, put it into a digital document that he then turned into a book. Well, that book then turned into his online training. That online training then turned into his keynote, right? And now it's just part of who he is. So yeah, if anyone needs to write a book, I don't really take on a lot of clients, to do that, because it's a little more labor intensive. But if it's the right client, and I know they have the what I call the it factor, absolutely, positively, because again, it's not about the book. The book's the calling card, but now how do we leverage that to get your online training going, to get you on stages, and ultimately, how do we leverage that book to help you close more deals, get more client acquisition? So that's the key. But yeah, the book's a powerful tool, closing tool, credibility tool. It was very painful for me when I first started writing it to get out of my brain. And then, I did a lot of research. I mentored with a lot of different people. And then, now somebody just told me again, they're like, dude, you need to write another book. And my first reaction was like, oh man, that's what's so painful. But honestly, I'm probably within the next 6 to 8 months, gonna do another one. And I know I'll be able to do it rather quickly, because I know the formula now, and I have the content, so the rest becomes easy.
Yeah, and I'm kind of in the same boat. We wrote this in I think 2017, came out in right in the beginning of 2018, and it's like it's still very, very, very relevant. But I've learned a lot. I've learned so much more since then that it's like, okay, now I'm ready to do the advanced version of it, like the next level of it as well. And yeah, it's painful. It took about a year for me. I dedicated a few hours every Wednesday morning. That was my book writing time, and just just focus on that. And I got about a third of the way through it. scrapped the entire thing and restarted, changed the whole concept, changed the way what we're doing, and scrapped it all. But the process was awesome, and it for those of you who even think about that, it changed. I mean, Charlie, it changed my life. That catalyst. Have I ever even made my money back? No, probably never will. With the book sales itself, that's not what it's all about. It's about that.
And I didn't do it.
It's about leveraging that to then create a whole bunch of other opportunities to then deliver on what you are passionate about in life. And for me, that's serving others and helping entrepreneurs, live amazing qualities of life.
Yeah, no question. I didn't do it, to be a New York Times bestseller, nor did I do it to be an Amazon bestseller. Do you know what an Amazon bestseller is?
What's the Amazon bestseller? The
bestseller is when they say wait till 1 a.m. and put yourself in a category, and then you go number one and you can say you're number one. I'm not I'm not that guy. Listen, if you wake me up in the middle of the night and you shook me and you said, what's your title? What I'm a sales professional. Now that's a title. What I really do is, again, teach people how to shorten their sales cycle and increase revenue, guaranteed through my 3-step process, right? That's how you should respond. But if you woke me up and shook me, I'm a sales professional. I've been in the ad specialty business, right? Selling hats and key tags. I've been in the telecom deregulation business. I've been in the automotive space. I've been in the software as a service space. From 1999 to 2014, I was in construction. I was in home improvement. I was working on high-rise towers and big projects here in Vegas at the Wynn Resort. So I do have a construction background and know what's involved in knocking doors or dealing with project managers and everything in between. And what I can tell your audience is the formula of selling is the same. And when you can learn that formula and you can learn the art of the introduction and you know how to build rapport and gain credibility, and then you start building assets, right? Like a book, or you have testimonials, or you're getting on podcasts, right? What's so great about being on your podcast? Well, number one, I'm having a ball talking about what I love most, which is sales and business. And two, this becomes social proof, right? Randy just didn't start a podcast because he fell off a turnip truck, and it was a circumstantial opportunity. He's got a podcast because he knows what the hell he's talking about, and then he can bring on credible people that want to interact with his audience and bring value. So it's really not, what word am I looking for? It's a really easy concept, I guess you might say, but for some reason, doing it's complex. So, when I wake up in the morning, how do I go out there and help people make it easy? How do you make sales easy? Right?
Yep.
By the way, that's a domain name I bought, makesaleseasy.com. Why did I buy it? So people could remember Make Sales Easy.
Absolutely.
And that's another stick mechanism within sales. So there's something else that I want to bring to your audience. Like, when you can figure out who you are and what you do in your marketing message, you'll just start pulling in all these other tools and assets or word tracks into your business where people are going to remember your brand, where you'll ultimately brand position and differentiate yourself long term, and then people will know who you are, what you do, how you can help them, and why you're here. What's the objective? When I get done presenting to you, I want you to want what I have versus having to convince you that I have what you need.
There you go.
And that's the objective.
I love that. And you're going right into, as we come in, cue you a little bit. You got this would be easy for you, but we always close with a golden nugget. We're not quite there yet, but we're wrapping this thing down because I do want to take a minute because, you and I connected and you're working on some pretty cool things right now. I know you're still doing the sales coaching, sales training, and LMS platforms, working with Lightspeed, but you're working on something pretty cool, and I think this is kind of changing the game of how people connect with one another and how they sell and how they set up the sale. Give us a quick kind of rundown on your newest entrepreneurial project that you've been working on, my friend.
Yeah, so I came up because of everything I just shared with you, right? I'm the consummate networker. I want to be able to, go out, introduce myself, build rapport, and gain credibility with you quickly, right? So I want to be able to make an impact on you to where we start a conversation. So what's the objective when I wake up in the morning? I want client acquisition. What do I need to do that? I need to go connect with people, knock a door, run ads, pick up the phone, whatever it is. So I need to connect with you, convey my marketing message, who I am, what I do, and then start a conversation that converts. Now, old school, people would say, do you have a card? Well, look, there's a business card. I don't even know what the guy does. Something with fuel tanks. I don't have my glasses on, but it's a paper card with a bunch of information that I'm going to put in my pocket. And here's the stack. I just came from a conference. There's the partial stack. The rest are in my bags, and I don't know where they are, right? Because people still give me cards. Now, when people say, do you have a card? I tell them, do you have a phone, right? I have a product called One Tap Connect. So I give people these tap cards. When people buy them for their teams, I custom brand them for their teams. Or the cards also have a QR code. So when you tap somebody's phone, your microsite pops up.
Yeah. And for those listening on the podcast, make sure to check out the video. We put it on YouTube and LinkedIn and social media, all the other media platforms. But what he's showing us right now is a little mini micro site that has all of his information all in one place, just by connecting on a card.
Right. So you can tap somebody's phone, right? Again, you tap their phone, the little prompt pops up, you click it. You can transfer it through QR code. Or I can digitally send it through text, social media, or email. But now, when I tap your phone, Randy, if I met you cold and you didn't know who I was, I mean, we knew each other at RoofCon, right? We didn't really, right? We knew each other. But if I met you cold, I'd tap your phone and I'd say, well, Randy, that's my Charlie Cina microsite that's been designed to help me brand position and differentiate myself as a speaker, trainer, sales consultant. See, everything about me, Randy's right there. My LinkedIn, my Facebook, my Instagram. I'm old school, Randy. If you hit that call button, it goes directly to my cell phone. And if I don't answer, I'll always call you back. If you'll scroll down, there's a little video on my company. Stages I've spoken on, industries I've spoken to. And Randy, I've spoken to every industry from real estate and construction, chiropractic, automotive, and everything in between. There's testimonials from my happy customers, Randy, people like you with businesses like yours where I've gone in, helped them shorten their sales cycle. How? Writing their marketing message, writing their sales scripts, essentially teaching their people how to present themselves in a way where they're really unforgettable at the first point of contact so they convert at a high level. That pretty blonde there's my wife of 27 years. Stages I've spoken on, people I've spoken to, and I've had the opportunity to work with, collaborate with, or have met the top speakers and trainers on the planet like Les Brown, Eric Thomas, numerous others. Do I have permission to add my information to your contacts? And then boom, they hit that add to contacts button. Now they have all my information. Now here's the thing. They have my information, but I don't have their information. So then I'd say to you, Randy, great, you have all my information. Do me a favor, let's connect next week. Hit that connect button. Now when they hit the connect button, a little pre-text comes up. It says, hey, it's Charlie, nice to meet you. Let's connect. When you hit send, they just texted you their number. Your picture pops up in their text thread. And then you simply say, Randy, is that you? And you point to their number and they say, yeah, that's me. Great. Text me your name and your company. So now literally, however long that took, let's say it was 90 seconds tops, what just happened? I introduced myself. I built rapport. I gained credibility, right? I identified that I could help you solve a problem with sales. But again, talk is what?
Talk is cheap.
Talk is cheap. But brother, there's my truth, authenticity, and proof that I can deliver, right? and there's people I work with or have acquired as clients. Now I just got your cell number, your name, and your company name. Do I need anything else if I'm prospecting you to follow up?
I don't think so. You're ready to go.
And
Let's
then
go.
I'd say to you, great, I'll call you next week. But rather than me call you next week, Randy, you're here, I'm here. Why don't we just book the appointment right now? What day's good for you?
Yeah, it's awesome, man. I remember when you and I got to connect on that, and it was like, yeah, super cool. And I had heard about it prior, and there's a lot of people in this space doing it and starting to use this. But for those of you entrepreneurs trying to really level up your game from sales and build a sales team and build your credibility and really try to do things in a unique, lasting, impressionable way that makes a difference, this is a great way to do that. How do we find out more information on that?
You could go to exposeandclose.com. I have a whole prospecting system there that's tied to my training. You could also go to onetapconnect.com, and the tools available there as well. And really quick, I'm at RoofCon, where I met you. Now, people, some hardcore contractor guys, when I tell this story, are going to go, dude, that's just weird. I don't care if what I'm about to tell you, you think it's weird or not. I connect with people. We're at the show. I go to the restroom. My partner's waiting outside the restroom. We're going to go to lunch. One of my friends, Tim Ritchie, he's got a company called Roof Shield. Sees me walking, he goes, dude, you're One Tap's crushing it. You got the busiest booth. You haven't stopped. I said, yeah. I said, I haven't stopped. Hopefully it's not going to kill me and I can enjoy the fruits of my labor. Guy's standing there at the sink, and he says, bro, that's what it takes to be successful. You got to grind. You got to do what the other people aren't willing to do. I look down. He's got some freaking very expensive sneakers on. The roofer's uniform, as I call it, freaking nice freaking watch, right? Yep. His jeans and his T-shirt, and he's humble as could be. I'm like, well, I could tell you're not eating pork and beans anytime soon. I washed my hands. We're walking out. So my name's Charlie. What's your name? He said, Vincent. We start talking. I show him my consulting card. He says to me, where'd you get that? I said, oh, there's a guy that's got a booth here. I said, I know him personally. He goes, dude, that's an amazing tool. He goes, what's the guy's name? I want that. I said, you're looking at him. He goes, dude, are you kidding? That's your product? The guy came to my booth and spent $11,500. The transaction took me 12 minutes. Where'd I meet him? In the bathroom. Started a conversation. Hi, what's your name? We're walking out. Now, here's the cool part. Because I'm all about social proof, my partner, who's really the tech guy behind the operation, takes out his phone because I've now transferred that to him. I'm like, dude, you take out your phone, you start recording stuff. We need social proof. Takes out his phone. He's recording me. The guy comes to the booth. The company's name is Commonwealth Energy, a solar company. We just private labeled, because they bought so many, their One Tap Connect, the entire package, their own private label awesome. Bumpers, their own cards, their own QR codes. And literally, I'm going to onboard his entire team and teach them how to leverage and use this so they convert at a higher level. Now, what am I doing? I'm bringing your audience social proof that I know what the fun I'm talking about, right? That's what all of you need to do. Okay? Whether you're a roofer, a baker, or a candlestick maker, you need truth, you need authenticity and proof. You need to brand, position, and differentiate yourself at the first point of contact. And when people know that you'll deliver, the price doesn't even become an issue. And if it does, they'll say, well, can you do it for this? And then if you want to make that concession, you can say sure and close the deal, but you're not going to go round and round and round the mulberry bush, right? You're going to build that relationship, and I'll leave your audience with this. That's what you're closing on. You're not selling a roof. I didn't sell that man One Tap Connect. I built a relationship with him, Randy. I didn't know who he was. Okay, the guy started talking to me, not to be, my back was to him. I was busy when he started talking to me, right? I wash my hands, I'm walking out of the bathroom. The guy's got 100 reps. I didn't know that. I want to know his name. I want to bring him value. I didn't know he was going to come and spend 5 figures with me. And then at the end, he gave me a testimonial, and guess why he said he bought?
Why is that?
He bought because of what I transferred to him.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying? You, everyone that's listening to this, you are a brand called you. You are a brand called you. So when you wake up in the morning, it's your job to shout from the rooftops who you are, what you do. It's your job to expose and close your product, services, everything that you have to offer the world. And when you can learn how to present and position yourself, dude, I'm telling you, it's fun. And I know this probably isn't something that's normal. I never anticipated at this point in my life. No one's here really today because of the holiday, but this is my new office for One Tap in my consulting business. I've got 8 desks here. There's my first sales guy, Drew. He said, "Are you coming in tomorrow?" I said, "Well, I'm coming in tomorrow, bro. Are you coming in?" He said, "Yep. I'll be here." We're here. Okay. I'm going to hire first of the year some more people. That's my partner's office. We got the board up there for training. And then right here, Randy, we've got these, we call them VCRs, these little video conference rooms where people can do their Zoom meetings. So we're cranking up. We got a great little kitchen here with espresso. I mean, the facility's first class. But dude, I'm pumped up going into the new year, and I'm truly excited about your industry and every other industry where sales professionals want to go next level.
Yeah. I love it, guys. You heard it here as we're wrapping this thing up. This has been chock full of golden nuggets, but as he ended here, you are I want to make sure I get it correct.
Brand called you. You are a brand called you.
Called you. And simple but so powerful, guys. I mean, I wouldn't be here today, over 400 episodes in, nearly 5 years of this show, exponentially. We're in the same boat, man. We have 6 full-time people now. It was 2 last year, and we're going into 2023 on fire. And none of that would have been possible. And I think I'm speaking for Charlie as well, if you didn't make a commitment to you in making a brand for yourself, regardless of what you're doing in life, whether you're just trying to find a mate or you're trying to build a huge business, or you've got to understand the value of yourself and create that personal brand for yourself. And even if it's just one person you're touching, that's one person that's going to be benefited from what you put out there and what you deliver as the individual and as a good human being. So appreciate you. Thank you so much for joining us today, Charlie. You can definitely see him on social media and all the websites we've mentioned many a times. Charlie Cina. Today, we appreciate you, man. Hope everybody has congratulations on your success, the new office, the whole deal. Hope everybody has a very Merry Christmas, and take care, and God bless.
Merry Christmas.